He is
Ricardo, and she is
Adriana, and we are
sitting here with the lovely and talented.
Yo, this is fire as fuck. Okay. Count those?
Yes.
No.
3.
Wait, what do I say?
You're gonna say 3, 2, 1, go.
Well, that's fire.
Hello, you're listening to the 99th ever episode of Chismes And Menudo. He is
Ricardo, and she is
Adriana, and we are
sitting here with Sonia, the creator of the Carne Asada Fest.
Yeah.
bro.
I finally made it.
Dude, yeah. So we had planned, because you reached out to us and you wanted us to come and do the taste testing, which I was like, oh, are you kidding me? Like, there was no way we were going to say no to that. But we were going to have you on right after.
Yeah.
And then it was like, oh, I got paranoid because I was like, she's probably doing all this shit.
It's like a whole storm of stuff that happens throughout the Carne Asada Fest.
Yeah, and I was talking to Frankie and we were like setting it up, and then I was like, let's not. This is the least of her worries right now. Like, you had a lot of shit going on, and I get freaking like upset. I hate planning parties with my own kids, girl. I hate it. And so you doing that, I was like, I can't even imagine. I'm not even gonna bother her with this. We could do it after. We could get the tea after.
But honestly, I think it's the best of what happened, because now that I have like a clear mind and like I'm more relaxed and like it happened, you guys were there, it's so much more easier to like connect the dots of like, well, how do you do this? How do you do that?
Right.
So
yeah.
So
we want to take it back, because I know before you were doing Carne Asada Fest, you were singing.
Yes.
I had even DM'd you. I was like, I didn't even know that was like your background.
Yeah. You know, I became an artist. Well, I had done music my whole life. My parents were very strict with me on making sure that I creatively stayed in music, whether it was songwriting or stuff like that. But I decided to become an artist because I wanted to be more recognized as a songwriter, and no one would take me serious. So I just kind of was like, in order for people to realize how good I am at songwriting, I have to sing these songs. And which a lot of people don't know, I'm an introvert, and nobody believes me.
I don't believe you.
I'm an introvert. And it's a real thing. You could be an introvert, extrovert. It's a real life thing.
That's actually true.
So I don't want to say that I'm fake extrovert, because I'm not a fake extrovert, but I prefer to be to myself behind the scenes, things like that. I'm good at like knowing what the vision is, directing it. But when it came to being an artist, man, I had to push myself out there. I had to take this leap of faith, but it really taught me a lot of things. Like there was no one for me to look at in Dallas as far as who I wanted to be like. And that's always scary, because there's no blueprint. I kind of was like, well...
You had to be the blueprint.
Yeah, when people were like, well, you know, what kind of music do you do? And I'm like, well, I songwrite and everything. But I literally just used it as, look, I'm everybody's favorite homegirl. This is how we're going to approach it. This is how we're going to approach it. I know the people that love me are going to appreciate it. And the people that have grown up with me know that I do music. So I'm just going to have to... That's when I learned about branding. I fell into branding. I didn't know... anything about branding, but I fell into it, and everything that I was releasing, whether it was La Chismosa or, doing Kilobytes, which is the dulce enchilado collab that I did with Serape Treats, I just realized that I have a real fan base here that appreciates my creativity and my art. So I would say being an artist really helped me do things on a larger scale. But it's tough. Being an artist is tough.
I can't imagine.
It's just because, and I think that's the reason why I have so much like love for the local artists that we put on the festival, because that was me. And me being an artist in Dallas, I realized that there was a lot of opportunities that I wish were just different. So in order for me to just appreciate artistic talent, I had to put myself in their shoes. And so it's really just been a blessing, like being able to take my journey as an artist and be here. It wasn't fun. It was hard. I literally did it for my full-time job. Pandemic happened. That was scary.
That was crazy.
So yeah, like I don't talk about it that much anymore unless people go and do some digging. They're like, oh,
And I did.
They were like, you're an artist because I performed on the first festival and then I didn't perform anymore after that. I was like, a lot of people would have been like, people do ask me, why don't you perform on this amazing stage that you do all this production?
That you created.
Yeah. And it's because, look, to be completely honest with you, anybody would take these opportunities for themselves, put themselves on a bigger platform. But I've realized that the bigger platform is me sacrificing my own success and my own dreams for everybody else. And it only helps the festival grow.
Yeah.
So what am I going to do making sure my set looks great, but the rest of the festival could suffer?
Yeah.
So I'm happy,
So did you organize the first one that you performed at?
Yeah.
Or- yeah? Oh, damn, that's a lot.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know. And even then at that time, and that's probably why I never did it again, because at that time, I remember that day, it was probably my favorite festival, not only because it was the first one, but just because it was really a lineup of we had nothing but local talent because we didn't have a big headliner at that festival. So it really were all of us just who's who in Dallas really hitting the stage. We don't know what the Carne Asada Fest is even going to become, but it was stressful then because I had these artists, some of them were kind of talking to me crazy. And I'm thinking to myself, like, first of all, I'm an artist.
Wait, what do you think? No, hell no.
Sometimes being...
Who?
Yeah, no.
We'll fight you right now.
Because it's in the past, I could talk about it now. But sometimes I think artists, everybody has their diva moment. It don't matter. People just have their diva moments. And people take things personal, and people want to be even headliners will act crazy sometimes because they have their diva moments. But for me, I was just like, look, I have a sold out show. You're on this stage and you're talking to me crazy. But it taught me then that I want to be somebody that is more able to be a better resource to them than them just feeling like Sonia didn't pay attention to me type of thing. I couldn't really pay attention to a lot of things that were happening. It was created in like 6 weeks. So
the first one?
Yeah.
Oh my
shit.
God.
Yeah, it was crazy. So
How did that even come about? Like the background.
I'm like, because I got my feelings hurt when I was an artist. No. Something happened during the time of the pandemic to like 2021. So from January to like May, there was I released an EP called Homegirl, which I love. I love that EP. It really has some amazing songs on there. But during that time, I really felt like, what am I doing next? Because as an artist, you really have to have momentum going. And I was like, I really do not feel like being an artist right now. But I don't want to give this up. But I have this idea, and I have to keep being an artist to make it happen. And so I basically was like, look, I'm going to create this music and food festival because I love food and I love music. And I'm going to call it Carne Asada Fest. And I work with my friend at the time, he's still my friend, but Dummy Fresh, the artist. I always just send him ideas. I'm like, hey, can you create this? And once he created the flyer, I was like, yes, it looks beautiful. And then I would link up with all my favorite foodies, my favorite food vendors, which were only about 5 at the time. It was Smoking Dogs, Chetos, Jazzy Taco, Serape Trees, Borracho Michi Mix, Loquito Coquito. Okay, so that's 6.
Loquito Coquito, I've heard of him before. He was at the podcast fest.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Was that the bartender?
Yes.
Yeah.
And then Elotes Mendoza. So it wasn't really that many food vendors, and it was at this really small house. And I say house, but it's a building in Deep Ellum that's like an old building. It's like an old fraternity house. And so it really felt like a real Carne Asada at somebody's house. Like that house was packed. It was crazy.
Whoa.
But yeah, we had to jump it off like in 6 weeks because once I saw when I released it, as things would happen, anytime I would say, hey, I got a new t-shirt or I got this new merch coming out, it would do pretty well. So I knew that if I was going to release that this festival was happening, not only was I going to have to get the timing right, but I was really going to have to keep the momentum going. So it was 6 weeks. And
that's insane, dude. And then like thinking to this one, because you had said, I think you said it when you were up on stage, that like it takes you 9 months. Going from like 6 weeks to 9 months is fucking insane.
Yeah, especially just in 3 years.
Yeah. And, after we did the first festival at the Sons of Herman Hall in Deep Ellum, I think I took like 2 weeks off. And then I pretty much was like, we had already outgrown that building. And I didn't want to do the festival there again, knowing we had already outgrew it. So I was like, my favorite venue is Gillies, and I really think I can make it happen. So we reached out to them, and I think every time people hear this story, they're just like, how did you even think that you could do it? And that's a big thing. Thinking is like power. If you think of it, that's the first step. If you can really put yourself in this mind frame of anything is possible, that's the next step. And so I took what we made from that first festival at Deep Elm, I just rolled it back into it. I just rolled it back into it and really was like, went back to work. But because it's at Gillies and we had, it's, I think the capacity is like 3,500. It takes 9 months because we have a bigger stage. We have stage production. We have partners that we deal with. We have more food vendors. So, and because we're a small production company, that's why it takes us 9 months. But as we go on, we're learning that, okay, we kind of understand what we're doing. We know what not to do. We understand how it went last year. So it gets a little bit easier. But yeah, we start in September. It's like a school year, September to May.
Yeah, dude, that's insane.
It's like our graduation.
That's awesome. This is the first time that we went, and we even like say here on our vlog that this is the first year that we went. And dude, I wish we had gone to the other ones because this one was so fun.
Yeah.
Yay.
So fun, dude. Like, and I'm a mom of 5, so I don't get out much. Dude, I was dancing the whole time. I had video like the whole time. From the time where like we ate, we got, I got a Pacheco burger. I think you got big rubs, right?
And see, you guys had home field advantage because you guys had already known some of these vendors.
Yeah.
So y'all went already with the plan of who we're hitting up.
Yeah, for sure. Sarape Treats, we hit them up too.
Oh, I didn't get anything from them.
Carlos, he was like, that's the first place that he's going.
Yeah, because his girlfriend really liked the. I think it was the Sour Patch Kids.
Yeah. She was like, you have to get it for me when you go. But yeah, as soon as we ate, I was like, okay, y'all ready? Let's go and let's go dance. We wanted to make sure we caught everybody, and yeah, dude, it was awesome. We saw Nate at the taste testing and then like saw his performance. That was badass. But the ones that we didn't see, like who was the chick that did Gabriela, right? The Selena covers?
She's from San Antonio. Mm-hmm.
She was amazing.
Yes.
Like you can even hear it in one of our vlogs. She was insane. Ren was crazy.
Yes.
She was so good.
I appreciate that you guys appreciated those artists because I think this year, man, I want to say every year, every artist really makes me proud. But I feel like this year we got the best of the best when we chose who was going to be on this lineup when it came to supporting artists. Because it's like they understood the assignment, the fact that they took this opportunity and just put so much into it.
Right.
And Yossi, did you see Yossi?
Yeah,
so
Yossi.
This is Yossi's 3rd year, but it's like every year it's like she just really wants
She's
to
been
go all
killing
out.
it. I'm hoping we can get her on here because I've been wanting to talk to her, but she was great.
Yeah. And it's just, I don't want to say, I always tell people, I'm like, Carne Fest is like the Super Bowl to me. We're like the halftime show. But I think to them too, like to the artists, they're just like, I don't know if they ever are going to get the opportunity to perform at Gillies any other time. And so they take that seriously.
Yeah.
And they appreciate our stage production. And they prepare just as long as we do, if not longer. Like by the time they get the invite that they're going to be on Carne Asada Fest, they start working.
Yeah.
And so.
Do you have to hit them up pretty early on? Like you have to give them the 9 months or?
So for supporting artists, what we do is we put out basically the post that, hey, we're accepting submissions. And then we pretty much let them know by like November, December that they're going to be on the festival. And then they get to work.
And you guys get a lot of submissions?
Yeah, we get a lot of submissions.
Obviously, like as the years have gone by.
We get a lot of submissions and we obviously can't take everybody. And then it has to work. Like depending on who our headliners are. Like 2022, it was more of hip hop. It was a real good collaboration between hip hop and we had like, EDM, Latin EDM here, and then we had some Latin music. But this year we made sure that we went more towards the Latin genre. So because we didn't have that much hip hop, we weren't taking hip hop supporting artists. So it just really depends on who our main headlining artists are and how we fit it in. Because you have to think of it. Carne Asada Fest is like a playlist. And when you go to a Carne Asada, they always start off in one genre and then it weaves its way through, like whether
Yeah.
it's going to be country music, hip hop, reggaeton, we're ending on, bachata. That's the way that we think of the lineup. And we try to create the playtimes like that too, because you don't want it to go from like a hype. Sorry, y'all. Sorry. You don't want it to go from a hype point and then it takes you down,
Right. So you're just escalating
Yeah.
as much as you can. That's crazy. Like, it's not just the name. It's you draw so much inspiration from an actual
carne
carne asada.
asada.
Yeah, dude, that's insane. What would made you want to just start the festival in general, other than like the artist? You being the artist.
So, because when I was the artist, I was going to different events and I would just see things and I would be like, if I had the opportunity to do my own event, this is how I would do it. Now, I didn't really want to do that, but not at all. But it just rose, like the occasion came to me because I was like I think it was like 2019 was when I kind of was still touring and doing small shows here and there. And I told, my friend, I was like, if I could ever do a festival, I'd want it to be a music and food festival. And I want it to be called Carne Asada because everybody's invited to the Carne Asada. So it's just those things that I just I'm always on the like, this would be cool. We should do this. So I kind of tucked it away. But I knew that when the pandemic was kind of like allowing us to go outside again, that it was I think it was in May. Even though there were things that were still happening, they were letting us out more and more. So that's the other reason why it gave me such a small time frame, because I was like, I have no idea if they're going to put us on lockdown again. So it was just the right time for me to release it because everybody was going to go outside.
Yeah.
And
When was the first one? It was in 21?
July 10th of 2021.
Okay.
And so it's like, at that time, the pandemic did a lot of things to certain fields. Like when it came to entertainment, like musical artists, there were so many artists that came out during the pandemic because we were all at home online.
Right.
So there was TikTok was crazy.
Yeah.
And then the same thing, like we saw some of our favorite festivals go away because they couldn't last through that hold. Like the production companies, some of them never have come back and they closed the doors.
That's the craziest thing too about the pandemic is how many businesses went out of business.
And so it leveled everything to where you could literally be nobody and release something and it would be just as cool as if
that's
before.
so true.
So I took that opportunity. Not only was I just like, I don't know if I want to be an artist, but I was just like, I'm going to release this idea because I'm burnt out as an artist and I need a creative outlet. And so let's just see if it sticks. I'm so glad it stuck.
Wow.
So are you already making plans for next year or are you kind of taking a little
Yeah,
break?
I'm making sure I take a break. But we do. I know, we always talk. We have behind the scenes stuff that we have to do. It's not as heavy. It's not as like time consuming, but we just have to make sure like the brand is still there. People are learning about us. We're still active on social media. And then we have people that, come and talk to us that want to be involved for next year. So we just follow up on those emails, be like, hey, we'll get back to you in September, October. But as far as my production company, 20X is what houses Carne Asada Fest. And 20X is still a production company that puts out other events, not on the large scale of the festival, but I try to just make sure that we still have things that are actively going on. I remember one of my first festivals, one of my first events, I actually put together a comedy show. And it was during the pandemic. It was so cool. I put together a comedy show because I wanted to help my friend Midnight. And that's when I met Ralph Barbosa. And this little comedy show was at this seafood place in Oak Cliff. But it was so funny. It was called Butter on a Skillet. And Midnight's one of my closest friends. So anytime somebody comes up to me and is like, hey, can you help me, do this? And I'll like look into it. And I'm like, yeah, let's make it happen type of thing. But
That's insane, dude. Like, and especially because this year you got so much recognition like on the news channels. That's what for me was like, oh, this is big now.
Yeah.
Like big. How did that come about? Like, did they reach out to you? They emailed you? Or
So the good thing is, I think the festival just itself is becoming more culturally impactful for the community. I remember our first year, we would get like little articles here and there, and they were a huge deal to me because I was like, oh my God, they're recognizing the festival. That's so cool. And then the second year, I was on WFAA last year also, and we were on like certain articles. But what I realized was this year for our media run, there was so much more that was organically coming to us because everybody has a media kit. If you are a brand, you're gonna have like a media kit where you're gonna push out and be like, hey, this is what's going on. But it's up to them if they want to cover it. This year we didn't do that just because we didn't have a team that we were working with. But I was like, this is crazy because they're already coming to us.
Yeah.
So I was grateful that this year the WFAA was in the studio because last year it wasn't. And to me, just seeing it, like they had Carne Asada Fest, like, I have videos where they had Carne Asada Fest, like on the whole newsroom,
That's
like the
insane.
logo. It was so beautiful, bro. I felt like I was at like a new quinceañera for myself. And it was just so beautiful to see. And I know like so many people go into WFAA and they get to pitch like, but I remember one of the people that were working in the newsroom, she said something like, yeah, she shared it. She was like, Carne Asada Fest is here today. So I was like, oh, they know us? Like, that's crazy. And a lot of people are like, why do you act like that, Sonia? Like, yes, people know what the festival is. I'm like, I still get very like, how do they know us?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, how did they find us type of thing? And so that's always just a humbling, like, little thing.
Yeah.
I think I'm always going to be like, how did they find us?
It's like, I don't know. For me, like, just hearing Carne Asada, it just takes me back, obviously, like, to family. And so it's crazy to see that in the news because it's like our culture is represented. Mm-hmm. Like, our culture is out there. It's not just on the Spanish news. Like, and right now, in this time, Mexicans specifically, like the music. I mean, Latinos always, right? Because of Bad Bunny and everything. Yeah. But specifically, Mexicans are
Mexican regional music is killing it right now, which is so funny because, growing up, I was just always. I grew up in a predominantly white neighborhood, so I never like shied away from being like hardcore Latino. People would come to my house, like my friends would come to our carne asada, and my dad would be blasting his music, and I never felt ashamed to be that or not like them. Mm-hmm. And so I think it just helps me now see how now that Mexican regional music is being recognized, like I have people that have never listened to this type of music at all and they have it on their playlist.
Yeah, dude.
So I'm like it's just about time because Mexican music never really got the recognition that it deserved. Reggaeton was always killing it.
Right.
Salsa, all these things were always killing it, and it was just some kind of one of them things. I even remember as an artist, people would tell me, I'm not gonna say no names. People in the industry would always say that it's one of them things where you don't want to say you're Mexican because it's just Mexican's not as cool. I was like, bro, so anytime somebody would do something like that to me, I would quickly just like switch gears. You're not the right person for me. You're not the right person for me. If you can't respect the roots of who I am, like I'm not about to like water down who I am. But yeah, I would hear that a lot. I would hear people say, don't put Spanish in your music. Like, don't do Spanglish. Like, well, why? Like, if I grew up doing Spanglish, why can't I do Spanglish?
Yeah, that's you.
And then sometimes there's partnerships that approach us and they're like they don't really understand what Carne Asada Fest is, but they want to target Latin demographics. And so they just want to make sure that we're not too Mexican. And I'd be like, we're not the right one for you then. Because too Mexican is honestly más chido. Like, sorry, at the end of the day.
Yes.
At the end of the day.
Hello. First of all, you're right.
Yeah. And so it's just like, because we're not Miami or because we're not like, no, we're Dallas, Texas. We're Mexican. Like, we're real Mexican.
I mean, yeah, like, obviously, again, like, there's other Latinos. But it is, like, more Mexicans here than anything else.
Yeah.
I do feel weird though about it. Like I have a lot of jokes that are just Mexican. Oh, I do stand up in case you didn't know.
Now you have somewhere to point to.
Like, oh yeah, that's me. That was my first show. But a lot of my jokes are like about being Mexican. At first I was kind of like, I don't want to do that. Like I don't want to just be a Mexican comedian just talking about being Mexican. But then I was like, fuck it, I don't care. It's funny. So
it's your experience. So I mean, how can we water down our experience?
What part of Mexico are you from? Or is your family from?
My family's from Michoacan. My mom's from Michoacan and my dad's from Laredo, but the Mexico side, nothing. I gotta tell people, like, Dad, why couldn't you be born a little bit deeper? And just
A little further down.
yeah.
Just a couple miles.
Yeah.
We're from Monterrey, our families.
Oh, I want to go to Monterrey so bad. I've been to
beautiful.
Guanajuato. So my husband's family, Kilo. My last name comes from Guanajuato, from Celaya, which is very beautiful.
I was gonna ask you if that's your real name.
Yes,
Like
I love
that's a
that.
cool last
Yeah.
name.
Yeah, I take a lot of pride in my last name just because I actually got to see, like the journey of where my last name came from, because my father-in-law came from Mexico. Like, as the oldest, he came here, he worked, and he was the house that then everybody followed into that lived there and then could build their home. He comes from, basically, my husband's grandfather was the one who grew the corn, and he never had a car, he had a donkey.
Nice.
So like,
Damn.
no, so it's like I really saw their house, the house that they built, a house full of like corn, them taking all the, husk off and stuff like that. And it's like, when you really see where your last name comes from, it kind of gives me more of the perspective. Like, it's something to be proud of. And I'm like, even though it's my husband's last name, like, I'm a representation of that. So I hope that when his family sees it in Mexico, which I know they do because they send me messages, but I hope that when they see it, they're just like shit, that's Sonia Kilo,
Yeah.
She's doing amazing things.
Yeah, our last name is out
They're
there,
there.
bro. I wanted to ask you, like, because I've been with my husband since I was 16. I'm 30 now.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time, bro.
Yeah, dude. High school sweethearts.
Yeah.
But like, he has always supported me in what I do, which is how we have this, and I have other projects going on, and has always been supportive. Was your husband the same way, or was he kind of iffy when you were first like telling him the idea?
No, and I think about this now because we've been together. I think we've been married 12 years now. But, when I first got with him, I don't think he ever had a clue as to what was, going to take place. He really was just like, cool, I'm with Sonia. We're doing cute things. But
being cute.
Yeah, but from the moment that I ever had a business idea, he would just be like, let me go support her. He's been the most supportive in everything that I do, but I think the festival itself has, honestly, and just because I'm on Chismes And Menudo, I'm going to be honest, but it took a toll on our marriage.
Yeah.
Hardcore. And it was only because it was a lot different than any business that I had ever done. And I don't involve him in the stresses of the business, but it took time away from him. So, but everybody knows Joe. He's always out there working, but we are real people, like we have struggles. And I would say this past year was like the most difficult for me personally, business-wise. And I was like, I cannot handle anymore. But thankfully my team like helps me a lot too. And then my husband and I have been able to take the time that we need to like reconnect, to be like, what is it that we don't like or that we do like, which I'm grateful for, because I will never sit up here and lie and say it's easy. It's not easy. Being married is not easy. Running a business as a woman is not easy. Being a mother and running a business is not easy. So,
Girl, preach.
so it's just those things that I am appreciative. I look at him every day and I'm just like, I just left a meeting and I was just like, I'm Joe's best friend. Like, if I left, he would have no friends. So
Oh my God, same. Oh my God.
So I take that seriously. Like, I don't hold it over him like you would have nothing without me. I'm just like, bro, I'm his everything. Like, I have to act accordingly. So, and that,
You just give me a whole new perspective, actually.
like Joe would hang the moon for me if he could, and if he couldn't, he would figure out how to do it. And so you don't find that, and that's probably the reason why I'm like, when people come and try to work with me or do things, I'm like, okay, how is this gonna affect me and Joe? Now, I didn't used to always be like that. I don't want to say I was selfish. I wasn't selfish, but I am very much what is it called when you're
What?
What is it called when you're the person that's I'm alpha? I don't like being alpha though. People are always
we
like,
have so much in common.
people are like, people think that I love being an alpha female. I do not.
It's not something that you can control.
I'm
though.
like, I cannot help it that I have BDE, okay? But my husband got BDE too. And so we're
If you know,
trying
you know.
Yeah. So I'm trying to figure out, like, and there's a lot of times people humble me. Like Miguel, the guy that works with me, he humbles me. Kirby, they humble me. And sometimes I'm just kind of like, I want to be in my soft And so I'm very grateful that my husband doesn't necessarily is involved in this festival with me, because it allows me to go back to him and be away from it and be soft, like the soft woman I need to be.
Yeah. But going back to your point, like of being a woman in business and having kids and being a married woman in business, how did that affect your kids? Like, are they, obviously they're proud of you, I'm sure, but like, are they sometimes like, where are you?
Yes. So, my son, whenever I started doing music, I think he was 6, and my daughter, she's always seen me. This is all she's known. So they were always on music video sets. They were doing things, and then they asked me all the time, "Are you gonna go back to music?" I think they understand now that it's more of like the festival. So even now, I brought them on stage this year because they have been telling me, "You need to bring me on stage." So I brought them on stage this year, but things that my son says to me, I realize like how it affects him. And he basically was just like, "So after the festival, we're going to have you till September, right?" And I'm just like, "Yeah, you're going to have me till September." But I want to change that because that's hard. September to May, and they don't have me because I'm out there, hustling and trying to, get things right. So they're proud of it. They love it. They love the festival. They pick their outfits, they do certain things, but they don't like that I'm not there. Yeah. And my husband does a lot of things with them that I don't get to do, and I don't like that either. We as moms, we don't like to miss out on things. Yeah. Like if you're going to the movies, I want to go to the movies too, but I might pass out in the movies, so I'm not gonna go. So now, like, we're planning all of these things to do, and I'm just like absorbing all of my time with them, but I can't get back certain memories. So I'm happily planning things better so that other people on the team can do things. And I think the festival is getting to the point where it can kind of support itself. I don't have to be out there hustling as much, which I know but if we ever move to a stadium, I'm going to have to be out there.
Oh,
hustling.
girl. Yeah. That's going to be all year. Dang. Like, how do you, this year specifically, because it got bigger, how did you manage time? Like, did you try to do like a 9-to-5 where you only worked a certain, or was that just not even possible?
So I actually still work. I have a full-time job. I know. So.
You do?
Yes.
Oh, I thought this was like, like you just had.
We all have a full-time job.
Oh shit!
All of us have full-time jobs. Like, yes.
And you've always had a full-time job
When I went back to work in 2021, like, it's so crazy. The day that I started a new job, when I decided to go back to work after being an artist full-time, was the day I started planning Carne and Asada Fest. Bro, I was in training. Like, I was in training for that job and then also putting together stuff. It was insane. I don't know why I did that. But that's how it happened. And then ever since then, I was just like, well, I have to keep working because some other BTS that nobody else knows, I don't actually take from the festival. I don't take a paycheck from it.
Oh, wow.
So, and that's for reasons that, honestly, I feel like I'm building equity with the festival and I'm creating these dream lineups that at this moment, I don't want to take from the festival. So me having my own income really, helps. If I wasn't working this, then that would be really hard for me. Right. And, it's just not possible sometimes to pay yourself out when you're building something on such a larger scale because you need all of the funds to do something.
Right.
So
in case of like an emergency and stuff.
And you guys, hopefully by year 5, you could be like, okay, good job, Sonia. She paid herself. But we make sure we pay everybody else because it's really
bring out like a big fat paycheck.
Yeah, good to Sonia. Sonia's first check ever after 10 years doing Carne Asada Fest. Like,
oh my God, I hope it's not 10 years. I'm so crazy. But and it's so funny because you guys are okay.
Tell us. Thank you so much. I love it.
So the other day, just this week, my supervisor called me to her office and she was just like, so we found out that you did a live WFAA interview, which I don't talk to them about any of my stuff that I do because I want to be real. I want to be like a good employee. I want you to know that I'm going to do a good job there. And I don't want you to know that my life is falling apart over here. So, but I made the mistake of accidentally, I had so much stuff going on. I was scheduling like sick time for actual doctor's appointment, and I accidentally scheduled that WFA live interview as sick time. And I had to basically tell her like, look, that was a mistake. Yes, I do have this going on. She was like, well, I just want you to know, I think you're great at what you do.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and I appreciated that. But she also was saying things to me like, you know, I don't think you're passionate about this. And I was like,
of course I'm not. You stupid.
Oh, passionate about the job?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But that's hard for me to say because I am passionate about what I do for a living. but it's obvious that, you know, when the universe is telling you you're not supposed to be doing something, it's like it was telling me, "You girl, you're not supposed to be here. What are you doing?" And I left that meeting. I left that day at work, and I called my team, and I was talking to Dummy Fresh and Kirby, and they were just like, "Yeah, I think you need to start thinking of yourself as how everybody else sees you." And I was like, I think, honestly, I am holding myself back. I think the universe is telling me you need to be doing this. And I'm like, but no, I'm comfortable here.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
this is a safe space for me.
It is. I mean, but it's hard, like, as a woman to leave a paycheck. You know what I mean? Like, no matter what your background is or what you've got going on, like, that's always going to be scary.
Yeah. And I think entrepreneurs, just in general, like, everybody that's an entrepreneur wants what they've built to pay for their lifestyle,
Yeah,
right?
of course.
But everybody knows that at least 3 years in business, sometimes it's just not easy. The first 3 years usually is not easy. And I think what I'm really trying to do is I want to keep being creative, and I want to help people along the way. And some of the cool productions that I'm going to be doing at the end of this year, I think are just going to help me realize that, okay, this is what you're doing, this is what you're going to do. I planned everything to the T so that if something failed, I already knew it was going to fail. This was going to fail. And I remember there was one thought in my head that said, oh my God, this house, this building is so old, and we're bringing in this huge stage production. Like, I don't think it can handle this much power. And exactly, like, we had kind of like, so you guys went to the festival and you guys saw the stage production, but it's like, imagine something similar, but in this smaller house. And it was just like the power was going on and off, on and off. Yes.
Oh my God, were you like dying?
Yes, I was just like, oh my God, I was running up and down the stairs. So, and then, like I said, I was performing that day. But I mean, everybody had an amazing time. But that festival, so that time was from 2, what did it start at 2? I think it started at 2 p.m., ended at 1 a.m.
Damn.
I know. Because I was really trying to mimic the real life
Like
party.
an actual kind of Asada?
Hey, but that's true though, because you're not leaving the party. Usually you sleep over.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
that's-
so that was the only time we've ever held it till 1 a.m. And now, last year was till midnight. This year was till 11.
It's getting shorter and shorter.
Yeah, but we're going to stay at 11. But that's only because my husband was like, Sonia, you know concerts do not go past midnight. And I was like, oh, you're right.
And it is like the production that goes into it can be equated to like a fucking concert.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Damn,
So
that's crazy.
So I was like, okay, I'm going to end at 11, which is a little bit better. So.
Yeah. Damn, I wish it would.
But yeah, people were so tired. And Ray Burger was the one who closed out the night, and at the first one, and yeah, he was on
He
real
was
late.
there on the first one too.
Yeah, Ray Burger's been there since the beginning. Like, that's why
He's cool.
That's
I
why I
like-
feel
I like
like
his visuals.
if you know Carne Asada Fest history, you can kind of see the growth in everybody. Our food vendors grew from that. Jazzy's Tacos, Smoking Dogs, like things that they've been able to do. Ray Burger's been there since the beginning, and at the time, like, I would say people knew Ray Burger, but a lot of people discovered him. So from that to this year when he headlined, it's like we are seeing real life growth, not only in us as a brand, but in everybody else that is growing with us. Our production team, our stage production team, I mean, they're like, Jonathan is with Dynamite's production. He's like an angel. Like, everybody that I've been able to work with, if they started with me, I honestly look at them like their family, because they appreciate the festival just as much as I do, and they want to work as hard. But even hearing his story, like, he was like, no one taught me stage production. Nobody wanted to help me. All the people that knew or were getting jobs here in Dallas, I couldn't look to them for advice. He's like, they would kind of like shut us out. And he said it wasn't until I think he went to a conference in Florida where people were telling him, yeah, I'll help you. You know, what questions do you have? He's like, but here in Dallas, nobody was helping him. And
was it because like there was not much, or just because they didn't want to?
I think they don't want to, because they don't want to give jobs out. Like, they want to be able to know what they know. People come to them, type of things. And so Jonathan, like, being self-taught, him and his team being self-taught, him, you know, even growing with me as the festival and our stage production growing. And I'm pretty sure I'm the only festival he's ever done, but it's like, you know, this year I made sure to tell the artists, like, can you guys tag Dynamite's production, because they're the whole reason why y'all look amazing on the stage. And that just made his whole world. When I just realized, I was like, oh, no one probably knows how much he works, you know?
Yeah. Wow, that's insane, dude. And it trips me out because, like, again, I would never think to plan something this crazy, but like how bad was it this year? Like, or how great was it? Like, what did you not expect happen that happened in a good way and in a bad way?
This year, honestly, I would say last year to this year was a complete 180. Like, I had to work with a new team, of course, because we actually lost a couple of team members last year, but for not bad reasons. There's just things that people had going on in their life that they needed to take care of. But it was hard for me because I'm just like, well, I have to build a new team. And that gave me a lot of anxiety. But I thankfully had people approach me throughout the year that have been trying to get a hold of me, one of them being Kirby. And Kirby was just like an angel. I still work with them.
Kirby. Shout out Kirby.
I still work with Dummy Fresh year round, so that was easy. Miguel had to, unfortunately, he had to step it up, which I had no idea Miguel was signed up to be a volleyball coach this year for his daughter. So I'm like, Miguel, stop signing up for things. And he was like, man, one of the moms tricked me. She said she was she said she was gonna help me this year and then didn't sign her daughter up. But he actually had an amazing volleyball season. Like, I think they were like undefeated. So go him. And then he's also getting his master's. So not only does he work full time, he's going to school to get his master's. He's a super dad, volleyball coach. And then I'm calling him 24/7. So, I mean, even though it looked like a lot of crazy stuff was going on around us, I think we killed it this year. And we honestly were just grateful for the turnaround that we had. Because last year we put so much money into the festival because we had such a huge jump that we really needed to make noise to be like, if you don't know who Carne Asada Fest is, this is who we are.
So was the jump from first to second bigger than second to third?
No, because,
right? This was the biggest one?
No, first to second was the jump because last year was our first year at Gillies. And so,
okay. This is your second year.
So this was our second year at Gillies, and we understood what we needed to do, and we had partnerships that wanted to work with us. So every year that you grow and you knock it out of the park, the partnerships come easier. And I always tell people, I'm like, we have a pretty cheap, I say concert ticket. We have a pretty cheap concert ticket because all these other concerts people want to go to are like $85 and up,
Yeah.
And I'm like, you guys really get to see, and the only way we can make that ticket still be like affordable is by our partnerships. And so the more and more people recognize the brand and want to come work with us, it's like the better we get at getting bigger artists and stuff like that.
Yeah. How did you get MC Magic, dude?
Well, so I actually opened up for MC Magic. I was on one of his Dallas shows. It was in 2021. It was September 2021. And I went and did a show. I loved his show. But from that, I realized how big of an artist he still is. How much people still appreciate him as a brand. And I saw it firsthand. Like, I saw all of the young kids, all of the older people. Like, yeah.
Dude.
And even then, like, I even went back to my team and I was just, like, telling them, like, MC Magic is the real deal. Like, he really cares about his fans. Like, we need to bring him to the festival. Nobody listened to me. So, nobody listened to me. And so when it came 2023, I was like, I'm bringing MC Magic and
I don't care.
Yeah, and I don't care. I was like, and it's gonna work. It's gonna happen. And
dude, we were walking out. My sister-in-law Jasenia was like dying to see him. We were walking out after we saw a couple of his songs. We had to go, but because I grew up with MC Magic, dude. Like, I know all his stuff. Okay, I'm not a new fan.
Yeah,
but like, I was so surprised by all the little kids that were in there singing this song, dude.
Yes.
I was like,
I can't say if it's because of TikTok. I don't know. Because like I said, 2021, I was when I did the show, and TikTok was still pretty big then. But he just really understands his fan base. And
yeah, it has to be like.
And then J Rocks, is one of his artists. She's doing amazing. But I always tell people, I'm like, you really have to. Celia Cruz was another generational artist, which meaning you have just families that just appreciate the music, and that's how I look at MC Magic. And it's really rare that you find that. And I appreciate. MC Magic and his team. I appreciate them so much, and I was grateful that they wanted to come be a part of this festival, and we could make it happen. And just seeing it, like, when I saw how many people were singing to his music and I saw them all in the front, I honestly wanted to tell my 2021 self, like, girl, you knew what you was talking about.
Don't ever doubt yourself again,
Yeah,
girl.
you knew what you was talking about. So, and
There was a line when we right after we had finished eating and we came inside. There was a super long ass line
For his
all the
meet
way
and
to.
greet?
I had no idea
Yeah.
what it was, and then when someone told, I don't know. I asked someone because I be talking to everybody, and they're like, "Yeah, it's for MC Magic." I was like, "MC Magic? What are you talking about?" I hadn't realized that, he
had a meet and greet.
yeah, and also that he was either got big again or just had stayed big, because his music was
Yeah.
around a long time ago, 20 years, 15 years ago that his show was popping. And that, I had no idea like that he either stayed consistent or like because of TikTok that it went crazy. Because there's other artists that have come back or their music has inspired a new generation, like the TV shows too.
Yeah.
They're on Netflix. Anyone can stream them. Grey's Anatomy, fucking Gilmore Girls. Like, it's insane to see all these younger kids jamming out to things that we were listening when we were kids.
Yeah, and that's like I just have so much respect for him, and I just loved seeing that. I loved seeing how many. And the other thing that really helped us, the fact that we got MC Magic, was because every year I feel like we grow a bigger fan base for the festival, but every year it's different. It's a different audience. So from year 1 to year 3, it's like now we have a new audience, which was a lot younger, and now they're going to know what are we looking for in 2024. So all the work that we do throughout the year is honestly just to keep, because we're a small production company, is just to keep costs down for us until we get to this like big, we're in Jerry Jones, house type of thing.
Dang, that would be crazy, dude. I can't wait to go there. Was there anything that you were like, I did not expect for it to go this way?
I mean, honestly, there's always things that go wrong. I don't expect things to go that way ever. We just learn things every year, like what we could do better. One of them just being like our day team. Like every year we have a day team. I would really love it if just one time our day team is like 30 people, because that's honestly what we need. And it's hard for us to find good day team people. Like the people that we have now is because we trust them. But
what's date? Like, can you explain what day team?
Day team basically means it's just the people that come and work in the day of the event.
Oh, okay.
But it's hard for us to find good people to work the day of the event, just because some people want to come and work the event because they want to go to the festival. And you really got to look at them and be like, why are you really here? So that's going to come, like I said, like it's going to come through the, as we grow, we'll get better and better team. And I even have people that come up to me at their festival and was like, I'm inspired. I want to intern for y'all. I want to do this. So, we get those opportunities. But
would you take on interns?
Yeah. I mean, I did career day at a couple of Dallas schools and in one school in Mesquite. And from those, I talk to them. I'm like real with them. I'm like, hey, these are the jobs that you can do. Like, let's say you may not be the person to ever throw a festival, but maybe you want to be a part of a festival, whether it's stage production, whether you want to be a talent buyer, whether you want to do digital marketing. Mm-hmm. Like these are all the things that you can do. And so I'm grateful that I had those opportunities to do those career days, because I met a lot of young kids, and some of them were like, I don't really know if I want to go to college, but this seems really cool. And I do, do a lot of graphic design. So because of that, I had one of the kids that was at the career day that actually got to come be a part of our day team.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, he was super nice. So
yeah, wow, that's crazy. Inspiring a whole new generation, dude. That's insane. How was the pack up like after the festival?
It's so hard. We're like so tired, and we're like looking at each other. Well, it was so fun because as a festival, we're constantly looking at like how we did, how we were able to do better than last year. And so we were all in our green room at the end. We were so tired. My husband was probably the tiredest. And I go in there, Miguel and I just fight all season.
What is he to you? Like, is he your partner? Like,
So I'm actually, I don't have an actual like partner, but I look at them as though, like Miguel really came into the festival last year as like, whatever you want me to do, Sonia, I'll help. I just really want to be a part of the festival. So he kind of was somebody that just was not really the forefront. And so this year when I put him in the forefront, he's so smart. Like he understands just like numbers. Like he was the one that did our profit and loss sheet this year. He kept me on target. He made sure all of our digital marketing was great because he knows how to, he understands digital ads. But I would say, like, when it comes to if there's anybody that's a partner with me under 20X ENT LLC, no. But like in real life, yes, he's my partner.
Yeah.
On paper, no. But in real life, yes. And I don't take that like, I think there was even a point, he's going to get so mad I'm talking about this. There was even a point where I think it was like a week before the festival and we were just all tired and something rubbed him the wrong way because he basically was like, I don't know if I'm coming back next year. And I was like,
out of nowhere?
yeah. And I was like,
no.
and I'm the type of person where either I'm going to say what I'm going to say or I'm just going to say, okay. And I said, okay. And when I said okay, then I was like, no, it's not okay. So then I called him and I was like, what are you talking about? Like, don't give me PTSD right now because I honestly can't handle another person leaving. So what's going on with you? Come to find out, he was just having a really rough day and something that we said in the group chat rubbed him the wrong way. And then I start crying, which I cry a lot. And I started crying and I was like, but because Miguel, like, I love you so much. Like, you have to understand, I appreciate you so much. He's like, okay, Sonia, I love you too. I'm sorry. I was just having a bad day. But it's just, those are real emotions. Like, if we ever had a reality TV show, y'all would be like, oh my God, like, we have to go to this festival and support these people because they're going through it.
Y'all should do it next
They're going
year.
through it. But Miguel has to work with a whole bunch of Latinas. So I can only imagine what he feels like. And there's things that he says that my husband also says to me too. So they're not liars. And I'm pretty sure I'm the problem because he says the things and I'm like, oh my God, I heard that. Where did I hear that from? Oh, Joe said that. But he's such a calm person that he's honestly the only male that I've ever worked with that has been able to just show me a different side of what it is to working with men. Because sometimes, you work with men that have to feel machismo in certain situations or they have to be the alpha. And it's like hard for them to work under a female. And so with Miguel, he understands, like, he wants his respect. He will give me my respect. He'll tell me when I'm difficult. He'll tell me when I'm being difficult. We apologize to each other. I've never had that in a man besides my husband, but he's not the same. But so Miguel, and then even Kirby balances us out. Ruby balances us out. So if we ever have a reality TV show, though, y'all going to realize who the problem is, and it may be me.
We don't have to go into specifics. Obviously, I would never ask you. But like when you started Carne Asada Fest, did a lot of that come out of your own pocket?
Yeah. Like when I found the venue, I remember I was like, I found the venue, and even the person that runs that venue is still a really important person to me even now. Her name's Amber, and she showed us the building, and I was like, okay, what do I got to do? She goes, you just got to put a deposit down of $700. So I think I had $700. I think that's all I had in my checking account at the time.
Oh my
God.
God.
I was like, look, it's fine. We're gonna make it back. I had no idea if we're gonna make it back.
That's insane.
So,
dude.
and I don't even discuss this with my husband.
You didn't tell him?
No, I never do this. That's what I'm telling you. I'm the problem. But I put the money down and I was just like, all right, it's time to get to work because I got to make this money back and we got to, make it shake for real. And yeah, so it all came from the beginning, came out of my pocket. And then Carne Asada Fest started making itself so many.
Mm-hmm. That's good. That's girl. Yeah. You really put all your eggs in one basket.
For real. I don't know. I don't recommend anybody to do that.
How scary was it though? Like once you had given that money, like
I think the crazy thing about me is I don't think about things too much. People will ponder on things, and that's the reason why they don't start on ideas because they second guess themselves. And while that does make sense, and I do think people should do that, honestly, I think just being who I already kind of knowing the formula of what my brand was, I always felt confident that something was going to happen the way that it should happen. And I have to thank that all to my fan base that was, there at the time that has grown more into the Carne Asada Fest fan base. But I just really relied on their support all the time that I guess that's why I wasn't scared. Maybe I was running on adrenaline. I don't really know.
Maybe you were delusional.
Oh my God. Because maybe I was delusional. But
no, and because same, dude, like same. I never think things through. I'm just like, do. my brother always has to like get on my ass, and like he's the one that will see like all of the negative turns.
He sees the real picture.
And we're like over here in our little fantasy world. Oh, it'll make sense. It'll work. But you have to have
that person.
You have to have both.
Yeah.
Because if it was up to me, we wouldn't have changed the studio today.
Yeah.
The only reason she did it
today.
She did this today. The only reason she did it is because I went to go hit an open mic. Like,
And left
I was
me
gone
here alone.
Yeah, I was gone for like 2 hours, and she was just like, "Oh, I can do stuff."
Yeah.
Be real though, you brought this fucking table from home. You didn't leave.
I had to bring this table because my babies climb it and they get on the TV. So I was like, let's go ahead and take it to the studio because like this is already a dangerous hazard. But I didn't tell him anything. Like I don't like with you and your husband, I don't tell my brother shit. It's not until day of usually
You're
where
like,
it's
I had this idea.
Yeah.
It's fucking annoying.
And he gets so mad at me.
I get mad because I have other shit that I have to do.
Yeah. And then, like, because he's a part of it, like, he's the other half, he has to go along with what I've already said we're going to do, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm sorry.
That's the only reason I get mad is because, like, I already have something planned and she's like, hey, don't plan anything for tomorrow.
And I
made
like
this.
that.
Yeah.
And they hate me for that, and I'm trying to do better. Like, I'm trying to, like,
I will say it always ends up working out. It's just really fucking annoying.
It is. I'm pretty sure it is annoying because there are people that like to plan, you know, like they like to have a schedule.
Yeah.
And where I'm mainly like, I can't work off a schedule. That's why I have Frankie. But I can't work off a schedule because so many things just come up that I'm like, yes, I got to do it. I got to do it right now.
Yeah.
But that's
Can't say no to anything.
Yeah. And like,
I can say no to a lot of things.
well, so, I mean, even like Miguel will literally tell me, like, Sonia, when I have to plan something, I can't change it. And I think that's one of our big personality differences is I'm just like, look, if somebody tells me I got to go do this, I'm going to go do it. So you need to come do it. But I learned that that's not how he works. And so I have to appreciate who he is. During this whole Carne Asada Fest.
Listening?
This whole Carne Asada Fest is honestly me learning how to work with other people. And I have to learn how people are and learn to adapt to them instead of forcing them to try and be like me. Because it's just like, it's not feasible. It's not possible.
Yeah.
And even like Miguel's so smart in what he does. And so there was one partner that we were working with that just really wanted answers ASAP. And I would have to tell him, Miguel doesn't like to make decisions like that. He has to take time, look into it, read into it, and then he will respond. Whereas I will respond immediately. And so
what do you think that is? Like, because I can't control it sometimes. I'm just going and going. Like, I have 7 different things.
Yeah,
going
that's what it
on
is.
usually.
You have like multiple things going on. So like you're thinking about 3 other things at the time. So whenever somebody comes in and says like, hey, this also needs to get done. Yeah, don't worry, I'll get it done. You just keep putting it.
I would say a lot of people have told me, Sonia, you have ADD. I refuse to go get diagnosed. But
yeah, no, because then if they give you pills, you won't do Carne Asada Fest.
Yeah.
You'll just be
Don't ever
chilling.
get diagnosed, please.
No, that's why I say the diagnosed person told me I have ADD, but I'm undiagnosed. But it's just, I honestly think that it really has a lot to do with like our attention span. And I don't drink coffee. I don't, you drink coffee?
She
Like
drinks
5 cups of tea.
not even just that, fucking energy drinks, Red
Yeah,
Bulls.
like you need to like,
You know what? You might be normal if you don't drink so much caffeine.
I don't want to be normal.
yeah. No, and I don't think you're not normal, but
don't think you're
one
normal.
thing I had to learn though, because I have so many ideas that are constantly spawning, is I have to put them on priority.
Yeah.
So there's been ideas that I've had 3 years ago that I'm like, it's just not time. It's not time to address that. Sometimes it sucks because I see them come to fruition for other people. And I'm like, dang, I thought about that first.
Yeah.
But, if it was meant for me to do it, I would do it. And if it's not meant for me, then whatever.
Yeah. How do you feel like with your family, your extended family? Do you have a big extended family, and do they support you?
Yeah. So I have so many aunts and uncles, and some of them have been coming to the festival. I mean, even when I was an artist, they supported me. But this year specifically, I saw so much more of my tias and tios that came out that I was just...
That you didn't know that were going to come?
No, they would tell me. I mean, I think for them also, they were still trying to figure out, well, what is it that this girl's doing?
Yeah.
So I think by the 3rd year, they were just like, we're going to go and I'm going to support you and we're going to go. And that was really, I mean, I always see all my cousins and stuff like that. But my actual tias and tios coming out really meant a lot to me. I really wanted to take a group family picture this year and I didn't get to do it. But that really, like, my extended family is a big a big part of. And I think that's a really cool thing about just being a Latino is just sometimes I always hear people say, not even my family supports me. When it's just
That's
kind
why I
of,
was asking. Yeah, it's
a lot of people
hard.
say that, but it's just kind of, it's one of those things where I never expect my family to support me. I just don't. I don't put expectations on anybody. If you don't put expectations on anybody, then, you know, and people always say strangers are going to support you before your friends and family do. They say that.
Yeah.
But the fact that they now see it and they're supportive and they're just like, you know, that's my cousin or that's my niece, you know, it plays a big role because not only are so many of them, so that helps. It's free marketing, but there's a lot of them. That's a really cool thing about being Latino is like if you can get your family to support you, there's so many of them that's another fan base to tap into.
Right. Damn, that's so true. I've never heard it like that, but is it hard for you to like verbalize your ideas or your plans? Because for me, that's kind of why I get to the point where I can't say anything because I literally can't verbalize it. It's not until I'm like doing.
Yeah. Yes. But I think the people that work with me now understand me that they don't try to. There's only been one person that I ever worked with that never really caught on to my ideas as good ideas, and that's why they don't work with me no more. But no,
And don't you regret it?
But no, there was I would say like Dummy Fresh, 100%. I would call him night and day. We text all the time, and he's really the first person I go to when I have an idea because I visually need to see it. I visually need to see the branding, and then when I can understand what the branding is, then I can go and start working on production. And Kirby and Miguel and Ruby, they all pretty much like, they never really question what I'm trying to say. I think they have faith in me that it's going to come to life and it's going to look a certain way. And then I make a lot of Pinterest boards. Like, I pull things, inspiration, like, and I kind of use those as an example to be like, okay, do you get this? Okay, this is what this is going to look like. And it works. Oh, sorry.
It works. Man, I never thought about that.
Yeah. No,
Pinterest board.
you have to give people visuals to know what you're talking about. I've learned that. And so anytime I see something that inspires me, I go and I categorize it, and then I just work from there. Especially Dummy Fresh, because he will say, you set me up for success. He was the first person to tell me that this year. He said, you're my creative director. You are the one that sets me up for success. So you got to give me all the tools that I need to make sure that I get there. And what he's saying is, you got to give me creative direction. You got to give me the examples you want, color scheme, font, all the things. And so I learned so much from him.
Yeah. Is it different every year? Like we didn't go to the other ones, but like a theme?
Yeah.
You have different themes every year?
So whenever we start working on the next year, you know, we start thinking of color schemes on how we want everything to look branding wise. And yeah, it's different every year. And then, you know, this was the first year we did the Chispa Lounge, and that was just so beautiful. Like that was probably the first time that I ever really got to bring one of my vision boards to life, because sometimes what happens is you'll go to like a creative person that's going to come and set this stuff up, and they'll tell you what they want it to look like. And I did do that, and I didn't really like it. So I went to my sister-in-law, and never knowing, I know she's creative. She does a lot of like setups for parties and stuff, but I don't ever think she did anything to this scale. So I really just had faith in her. And I said, okay, her name's Anna. I was like, okay, Anna, look, this is what I want it to look like. Think of this, here's a flyer, think of this, think of this. And she created a mock-up like for me, and I was like, oh, this is so beautiful. And then when it got set up that day, I was like, oh, like it's crazy seeing things that you think in your mind come to life.
Yeah. But it's worth it, right?
What time did y'all get started? Like the day of?
Like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
And
then
then
to
we
tear
didn't
everything
leave
down?
till 1 probably a.m.
Damn.
But see, that may not, but that's what I'm trying to tell people. Like, this shouldn't be us every year. Like, I actually, we had a meeting, a wrap-up meeting after the festival, like the weekend after, and with the team, and we went over the things that we need to do better, things that we like, what we want to do next year, how we need to get there. And I literally said in that meeting, I said, this is the last year we are working this hard. We have to outsource. Like, we need people to come in, like hundreds of people.
Really?
like we need people to come in and we need like 20 Joe Kilos, you know?
Like, sorry, but like when you say that, is it because you guys are already projecting next year's numbers and outcomes?
Yeah, like we take into consideration every year, like, and this year we got closer to our 35. I'm pretty sure, I got to check, but I'm pretty sure we got to 3,500 people. And it's just like one of those things where, because the festival is growing faster than we are growing.
Yeah.
And I always tell people this, not because I don't trust people, but just because you're growing really fast, you don't just hand your baby over to somebody.
Oh, 100%.
So we are really out there working. And you don't know how many people saw me at the festival and were like, why are you working here? Or like, why are you doing this? And I'm like, because I have to do this. Like, we all are working. But I would say that knowing what we know now, what we saw this year is, especially, I can't tell you what we want to do next year, but especially considering, I told y'all so much already,
no,
but
you're good.
especially considering the jump we want to make for next year, we already kind of know, like, we have to outsource. Like, Joe Kilo cannot be working that hard. Like, that man works so hard. He works so hard for a whole week. And he can't do that. Like, it's just not possible. We're all getting older. Like, I told Miguel and I told Demi Fresh, I was like, look, I'm getting older. Not only are the Cowboys not going to the Super Bowl while I'm young, I was like, but I cannot be working the festival like this every year, because I really need to make sure that I'm, where I need to be and certain things. So that's kind of like our plan.
Yeah. Like, looking back, if you could have like the perfect, or if you could have had the perfect thing go down without a hitch, what do you think that would have taken? Like, other than like the people, would it have been like more planning? I think sometimes it's just like the small details of just having a bigger team, or having like somebody that's dead, like a whole crew that just comes in there and just like does certain things. But it's hard, because even though Gillies gives us a really big staff, it's like Gillies isn't us. Oh, they give you guys their stuff?
For like ticketing, like they give us our security, they give us ticketing and stuff like that. But Gillies isn't us. Gillies doesn't work with us throughout the year. And we know how we want to be represented. We know how we want our festival attendees to be treated. We know, like, we had so many small details. Like, we had the Mercado this year. We made sure the Mercado looked beautiful. We had like just so many more details than we had last year.
I don't think we got a chance to go and...
No, I think we got there a little later.
Oh, boo. Okay, but it was beautiful.
No, but I saw the videos. And
what was the Mercado? Was it just like a...
It was just a whole bunch of vendors, that posted
cool.
up. Yeah, and it was just like really, really nice. We had like more activation setups. We had the State Farm people come out and do the little bobbleheads. Did you do the bobblehead? Oh, yeah. You could have got your own bobblehead.
Oh, for real?
Yeah,
Damn.
it was outside. You missed it.
We saw the State Farm thing. We just didn't go into it.
Yeah, it was little bobbleheads. You could have got yourself a little bobblehead. Could have been sitting right here in the background.
Damn, it really could have.
Can you do it next year, please?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they're going to come out. But it's just every year more people contact us to do activations. And that takes,
What's activations?
like activations are like setups. So like, Pizza Patron was there. They were giving out free pizza. State Farm was there. They were doing bobbleheads. Tequila with Friends. They had their own patio and they had the mechanical bull. Did you do the mechanical?
Yeah. I saw it, but I didn't get on.
Why?
No, I didn't get on. My pants were too tight.
She was gonna rip them.
Yeah, I couldn't risk it. I was already risking it with all the food I was eating.
Yeah, and then we had our Chispa Lounge. So those are just like certain things that, in order for us to pay more attention to those things, or getting people to go and enjoy our activations, is we need to be out there enjoying it too. And I never get to enjoy it. I be looking at y'all like, y'all look like y'all had so much fun.
Must be nice.
I love that for y'all. I hate that for me. But yeah.
Dang. What do you think it'll take, like, for you to be able to get out there?
So we are, thankfully, like I said, this is our third year. We did so well that, and the team that I have, I'm like, if any of y'all leave, like, y'all better leave the country, because y'all gonna be 6 feet in the ground. But it's just, I think being able to grow within the team, and us being able, we all work so well together that now we know what we need. And so that's why we start earlier with, who are we outsourcing? What does that look like cost-wise? What is that going to cost us? Or what is the company that we have to work with to get us that? So it's just a whole bunch of research, really.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Do you think like this is going to be like your ultimate passion, is just
doing the festival?
Because it's like it's a crazy amount of work.
Well, the festival honestly is, as long as I'm here on Earth living, I'm always going to hold this festival to like, oh, you know, like it's on its own pedestal. And it is one of my kids. Like, you know, every year that it grows, I'm like, oh, you hit a milestone. Great job, mijo. You know, but it's like, it's my passion. But I think for the most part, too, I appreciate it because it gives me the creative outlet that I don't ever want to. People approach me all the time. Can you do an event for us? That I'm not passionate about it, so I won't do it. But I am passionate about the Carne Asada Fest. So, like, I hope that one year I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do this full time. I'm going to enjoy my off season, and then I'm going to work really hard during, you know, the other season. So I see that happening in my future.
Yeah, like that's what you hope for Carne Asada Fest. Dang, girl. That's insane. I was like, whenever I first realized like that it was yours, like you thought of it, you created it from the ground up, I was like, that's a bad bitch. Because I could never.
But you know, I always tell people like, while it was my idea and like I did create it, it would not be able to still be here without the people that work on it. And that's really important for me to like just highlight the team or just be able to say like who does what, because if all of them left, I would have to rebuild and find, and you can't replace people. There's certain people that bring you things that you won't ever be able to get anywhere else. And I really, honestly, like when I find good people, I'm just like, oh my God, please don't ever leave me. But the best part is they're just as passionate about this festival as I am. Like they look at it like this is the best thing to ever happen to the city of Dallas, or this is the best thing to happen for our culture. And, you know, they'll take the losses with me. They take things personal like I do. And I just appreciate that. Like, yeah, I did create it. I am the main person, but I wouldn't be where I am without them. That's why every time I do like interviews, I'm like, and this is what we want to do. And this is what it's
you and your team.
It's not just like me. And I know I have to do the interviews and I have to do that and I have to go out and speak that. But I'm hoping next year, like more of the team gets to go and do their own media run. And you guys get to meet them and see them.
Yeah, that'd be crazy. And we were wanting to have Kirby on. I was thinking about asking Miguel. Because honestly, like you were saying that it's hard to find a man. Like that just fascinates me so much. Like to be able to find a man. Sorry, I swallowed my spit.
I was like, are you crying? Did Miguel make you cry?
Jesus. I didn't realize you were so invested.
No. I cry a lot, but it was
Cut the camera.
Y'all are. I'm perfectly fine.
yeah, because you don't do anything. No, it's amazing to me, like, because our editor Carlos, he like that's the kind of relationship that him and I have, and like it just fascinates me because we're used to something that's just completely the opposite.
Yeah,
and I would love to like grill him on here. That would be awesome.
Like, what is Sonia really like? Because she came on here, she said,
yeah, she was charming and everything, but I know that's really not the real her.
Yeah, I mean, Miguel and Dummy Fresh really are like, I would say, just the level of respect that they give me, and they give me the room to grow and to have my little moments. I mean, Dummy Fresh just in general, people don't understand how appreciative I am to have that man like in my pocket, that he will never ever be like, Sonia, I don't have time for you. There's people that try to reach him, they can't reach him. And I just have like so much access to him, and creatively he like is molding me to be like this badass person.
That's insane, dude. What are your like ultimate goals other than Carne Asada Fest?
I want to, I want to grow my production company to hold other cool, I would say, I don't want to say events, but just like host better production events. We can all go to a concert and stuff like that. We can all go to like pop-ups. But for me, I get so much enjoyment when I can create something that nobody has ever been to before. Like they left feeling like that was an out of this world experience. And so that's just being able to create or bring ideas to life. And that's what I'm working on this summer. And I hope in December, one of those ideas, those babies, we get to be like, hey, this is happening, which is a really cool idea. I really like it.
I can't wait. Well, whatever you do, let us know. We'll come on. We'll be a part of however. I was telling my brother, I was like, what if Sonia lets us host next year?
Well, you know what? One thing that I would love, because there was a lot of podcasts that came out this year. One thing that I would love, and somebody had reached out to me, but I was just like, okay, that's not going to work. But somebody was like, can we set up like a area for podcast people to come and record a show there. And I was like, so are you setting up what are you doing? Are you putting like all the equipment and yada, yada, yada? And they were like, yeah. And the people would just have to pay this amount. I was like, I don't want to do that this year. But I would love to I would love to have more podcasts come out and really get a more behind the scenes experience of like what it is. Because you guys like create really cool content just in general. And you guys just appreciate it, you know?
Thank you. Well, I mean, if you do it.
Yeah. Yes.
Put us on the list,
Yes.
because we're on there.
Yes.
That'd be awesome. Well, I mean, is there anything else that you'd like to say about Carne Asada Fest? Or like,
No.
what advice would you give anyone that's trying to do the same thing?
I mean, my advice, I don't know if I have any good advice, but I would definitely just say that if everybody that came out to Carne Asada Fest this year and you loved it, if you guys could go and leave us a review on our Facebook page, I would love that. And also just if you could support us by buying merch. We have merch on carneasadafest.com, and we had merch at the festival, but a lot of people didn't get to grab it because they couldn't find us. So
Oh, no.
that's something we got to do better next year. I was like, what do you mean you couldn't find us?
Where were you?
We were by the Mercado, and you guys weren't by the Mercado.
Yeah.
Was the Mercado going on the whole time? Mm-hmm. Where was it?
It was down the hall.
It was down the hall.
I've never
okay,
been
that's
to
why.
there, so
Yeah.
I went to
We
the
even
old
made a
saloon.
mat to help people understand, but these are just things that we
Wait.
learn.
It was when you walk in, it goes all
Straight
the
down
way
the hall.
straight to the end. Because you remember how we had to go into the actual like the spot.
To the right.
So when
There
you
was a-
came
there was
in,
a
you
couple
went to the
stuff there.
right, but then you go down, and it was there.
Oh, instead of going to the right, you. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay, yeah. See,
Because
no.
you saw there was booths like
Yeah,
set up
yeah.
right, like what's her name, the chick from Oak Cliff that performed.
I
Oh,
think,
She had
Muriel.
yeah,
I think
Muriel. She had
because-
hers.
Yeah, but she had it right at the end.
yeah, and those were we let the artists set up there, but I think because it was just so packed this year that's another thing. I want to have like Walmart greeters at Carne Asada Fest. Like, hey, have you checked out this? Have you gone here?
That'd
Yeah.
be
I do
a
that.
good
That'd be cool.
Like,
idea.
I'm gonna go and recruit all the Walmart greeters. Like, how much they paying out here? What if I told you get paid that amount, but you get tacos too?
Dude, they'd get on there like nothing. I was asking random people just because I'm not really afraid to talk to anybody. I was like, do you know where this? Do you know where that? And they would tell me, thank God, but I didn't think to ask about the fucking
Mercado. It's
Damn
okay.
it.
But yeah, if anybody that watches this episode, please go to carneasadafest.com and buy some of our merch.
Badass. Well, thank you so much for coming on the podcast, Sonia. Honestly, like, I'm so glad that it didn't work out before, and then we
Because you got all the chisme.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, we got the inside scoop. Even though you didn't want to tell us, like
Too much,
it's,
too much.
It's fine. It's fine. We're gonna talk. behind the scenes. It's okay. Can you Can you tell us the handle for Instagram or any other social media?
Yeah, so our handle for Instagram is, what is it? Carne Asada _fest. Yes, that's it.
do you want to text my camera? Like,
It's Carne Asada _fest.
okay, guys, make sure to follow Carne Asada _fest on Instagram. She's gonna do it big next year, so make sure you're like following the page so that you know what's going on. Follow Sonia at Sonia Kilo.
Yeah,
on
Sonia
Instagram.
_kilo.
Don't forget to follow us, and we'll see you next week.
Later.
Bye.
128 at least. It's like
Guess what we're doing today? No shoes on. Look at me.
Your shoes?
Yeah. I love that we got that on camera.
Through the kitchen and then through the whole backyard and then just ended up fucking being in the back of an alley waiting for him to leave.
Heard it here first, folks.
I haven't had that where I encountered like another person.
I didn't encounter it.
Guys, where we at?
I
Web Chapel.
went to the backyard and just waited.
Web Chapel. The hood spot.
got picked up by the homie.
Da-na-na-na-na. Da-na-na-na-na. Guys, we're on our way to Carne Asada Fest 2023. Yes. Vlogging. Carne Asada Fest 2023.
First time going.
It's first time. Isn't it cool that it's our first time and it's the first time that it gets like big recognition right now? She was on freaking all the
I saw
news channel.
They had it on the radio too, no?
Yeah. That's cool.
But that one was
97.9.
small, right?
We never went.
Oh, you never been? Oh, then what was that one time?
It was the promo. They were doing promo for it.
Promo.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, we just got lucky. We got in the mix. Oh yeah, it's parking over here. Now go to the right.
Chillin', man, chillin'. We're here at Carne Asada Fest at Gillies, Southside on Lamar. At Lamar? On Lamar? Wait, guys, I can't crease my shoes.
Oh.
Damn. Really? Big Rob, how are you?
Come some of my favorite barbecues. You get them bombers? What? That's literally what I did. I was like, I'm gonna get a bunch of bombers.
Somebody dance with me!
Thank you.
Got it.
She said, I'm just on you on team. Spend the check on Ricky. I can't spend that shit on Yeezy. Me and Fabi doing show. We got these bitches screaming until we pass out. Why you drink again? Then I'll black out. And I heard your credit card blacks out. What? Just never pull up when it rocks out. Hey, 740 with no tags down. It's the ATM with the cash out. What? We done drinking Henny till we pass out.
Hey, my side, y'all need to turn up. I'll give y'all some shots for free if y'all want to turn up. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yo, y'all make some noise for me time.
Yes, sir. My side, where y'all at? Hands up, hands up, hands up.
All right, come on, we can beat that. Y'all make some noise for my side.
Hey, my side's getting
45 on my way.
Stop calling that Texas hammer. I'll be up in my office all day. Talking about paper like
Jim Adler. I hit your bitch with a hammer. I hit your bitch with this Texas hammer. Now she calling me Jim Adler.
Sonia, what are you eating?
Oh, our smash burger.
From